be right back. Okay. My life a branched. I was a little lost in what to put for our assignment. At this point in all of our lives, we have massive stories to tell and so many side stories that branch off of them. Everyone has a complex history. So I tried to focus this little summary retelling on careers, my career focused goals and memories I've had along this path. Because most of the things I do nowadays are related to progressing my career. The homework I do, the colleges I apply to, the general work I'm doing now to get money, it's all to get to this final point that I'm aiming for. So let's get into more of that while we cross the talking stick. So the branch is obviously the timeline. It has a beginning, it has an end. Luckily, I haven't reached the end yet. Uh, and each leaf has a memory that I hold dear related to my career path. And so let's open them up and see what there is. So for this, currently my major is psychology. And I'm trying to get into a clinical psychology program for graduate school. That was not at all where I saw my life going when I was starting out. I specifically wanted to be a cardiologist. I experienced a lot of those doctors when I was a kid. Well, the same one, but like repeatedly. And I really admired her. And also, without seeing the cardiologist and modern medicine, I wouldn't be here. So I have strong beliefs in getting people the help they need, not restricting people in medicine. So that's why I wanted to join the medical field. I wanted to be part of that aid. I wanted to give back what I had received because I'm very thankful for it. And so looking at these photos, that first one, that was when, like right before I switched off to a more psychology approach, because high school was where the seeds were planted, and I branched off in college, like after a year in, I think, which isn't the worst time, and it wasn't the worst time to switch my major, but we'll get into that later. Uh, so that photo of me with like tape over my eye, I had to cover myself in labeled, I think it was masking tape, and just give every part of my body like the Latin name or whatever. I can remember them and I can sound more smart if I like go into it, but really, it wasn't my field. I was having trouble in a lot of anatomy classes. Um, Physics also got me. Uh, but yeah, I had to put tape all over myself. It was part of a class assignment at Tulsa Tech. I was doing concurrent Tulsa Tech classes. I wish I would have done more TCC. I would be maybe graduated by now if I did that. But everyone has their own path, and I did meet a lot of good people there, and I still talk to like two of them. So great, great experience. And then right there is a stethoscope I received for my birthday. Uh, Not really much to say about it now. It sort of just stays in its box. Uh, Cardiology isn't my thing anymore, and it really never was. I remember every time we had a cardiology like class or like topics on it, I was like, dang, I should really know all this stuff, and I just didn't. Bit of a shame. But moving on past childhood, well, adolescence still childhood, but well, that's another story. Um, One big part of growth. Not exactly career. Well, no, it is career related. That's why it's in here. I just remembered why. So, I was in the band program at my high school, the Bixby High School Pride. And just looking at that picture, it looks like my bell is dented, but that is a baritone. I played that during marching band. I really loved the trombone, and I started playing that instrument because it was unique and had the slide. I still have it. I don't play it as much anymore, but every now and then, when I get like musical inspiration, I go back and just sound horrible on it. But yeah, it was a really tough transition because it's a slide. It's entirely fluid movement because I didn't want to use keys. And then they put me on this thing with keys. They were always breaking down all the time. Hardships with instrument. But what's important to the career in this area is the fact that I met a lot of people, specifically a best friend that I'm luckily still in contact with today. Um, he opened up with me about having dissociative identity disorder. And when he opened up to me about it, I was like, cool, what's that? So then he gave me some YouTube videos, uh, which looking back kind of aren't the most scientific, but he was able to relate to them. So if that works, great. And it did help me start to understand. And then I, of course, have progressed in my knowledge now, and it led me to look at other parts of abnormal psychology, and now that's what I want to specialize in. I find abnormal psychology really interesting, and that's why I'm going to clinical psych, because that'll deal with it, I feel like, more than the other fields. So yeah, band. I was very introverted, got me to open up, uh, and meet new people who gave me the interests I have now. And that all led to my first big psychology project. So in that same biomed class where I had to like tape myself, we did a lot of other things too. Like we checked blood pressure. I learned how to suture, which I have now turned over to like sewing, whatnot, or at least I'm working in. I don't know if sewing was the right word. I think it's stitching, but like we got it. First psychology project. This is the only photo I can find as proof that I did it at all. Uh, I was a huge procrastinator in high school. Still kind of am. That's why this assignment's being turned in the day it's due. Um, but yeah, only proof it exists. Cutting and gluing those pipe cleaners was a hassle, and that was only one category. I'm trying to spell bipolar here. I don't know where the R went in the photo, but again, I don't have like any actual evidence it existed besides this photo. Because again, with the procrastination, I hadn't slept in like 2 or maybe 3 days, and it's not like when I did sleep, I got like the full 8 hours. It was definitely like 4 or around that. Uh, and so this project was so awful in two ways. To do, it was actually really fun building. Like I cut out a bunch of like text sheets and I glued it on this big board. And again, the pipe cleaner sucked, and I tried to make the bipolar as colorful as possible because I was like, oh, it switches. And then I tried to do some like psychedelic images for the schizophrenia. But yeah, it focused on dissociative identity disorder, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. And none of the information on there was something I would ever be proud or tell anyone today. At that time, it was supposed to be like information I learned largely from YouTube videos. I was not that good at actually researching, and that was like senior year high school. Like that sucked. I did have a few actual like sources, don't get me wrong. I don't think I was the best at citing them yet. but they were somewhere on there or like in a separate sheet. But yeah, uh, I'm so glad I didn't have to present it because some of it wasn't accurate, and I'm glad no one had to be victim to my misinformation. um, but yeah, it was a great project and a really like eye opener because at that time I only thought I had like one friend who had like DID, but I was so excited about this project and I was talking about it to anyone who would listen. So all of my friends, and I would tell them like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing it over DID and I'm also doing it over schizophrenia and bipolar disorder." And then some of them ended up coming out to me. They were also like, "Oh, that's cool. I have bipolar disorder or I have schizophrenia." And it was very interesting. Like when you I I don't know if it was just my friend group, but apparently like there were a lot of people uh who had it than I was aware of. Like it was a lot more relevant topic than I had ever thought because this was just something I was doing in my free time for fun. So, moving on. College. So first semester I had four main classes and then I was told to get an elective. And I didn't even choose introduction to psychology. It was just sort of like given to me by my counselor. And I was like, okay, great. Works out. I'm kind of interested in it. Ended up getting super interested in it during the class. And I loved it so much that it really became a huge topic for me. I'm kind of losing where I was going to talk about because I really want to talk about the next slide, and I'm just trying to keep it focused on this one. Uh, it was a great class. I got to meet great people. Those three in the photo, and then Dr. Ivy. Those three are colleagues of mine. I'm unfortunately only still talking to one of them. Colleagues of mine. They will be. We'll all be in a psych degree eventually. That's just sort of what I go for. Uh, and so, yeah, I know this is a social work class, but I'm very into the psychology route. That's my teacher, Dr. Ivy. I ended up having just about as many classes as I could with her. And I remember it was such a funny like little re-meeting because I had the introduction to psychology, and then I had another semester where it was humanities electives. So like, uh, didn't uh, didn't do any psychology that semester. And I missed it so much because I really was struggling. I still went ahead and finished a biology associates so that the classes I did take wouldn't go to waste. But I also spent extra time in going past what my scholarship allowed, the Tulsa Achieve Scholarship, to do a psychology associates because that's what I knew I really wanted. And I talked to Dr. Ivy about it. She gave me all the information I needed. She also had a social worker friend, so I was able to talk to her about social work and learn all the ins and outs. And I ended up settling with psychology, just because that definitely is more where I'm based and founded. So thankful for that class, and so thankful for the rest of the classes that got me where I am today. Oh, maybe it's the slide after this. Uh, but yeah, yeah, chronologically, yeah, it is the slide after this that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, also throughout the college experience so far, I'm not employed there right now. I left because the homework got so big at NSU and I displaced over time, but not really. It's its own drama. Anyway, but yeah, in that photo of me of the badge, I liked to wear a little fake bow tie that I borrowed from one of my coworkers. I tried to pay him for it. He never accepted it either. Uh, but yeah, just talking about the photos right now. I'll talk about the actual. The Hard Rock experience is kind of light, but like it is a big part of it because like it was somewhere I was spending more time at than anything in my life because that's how a job goes. Um, so yeah, I had a little badge. They let me put my own whatever band I chose on it. I was actually switching between Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance. I went to a Fall Out Boy concert sometime, yeah, last year, last March. not the March this year, like 2024. And now I'm going to the My Chemical Romance one. Love both of those bands. Did stick with the My Chemical Romance on that one though. And I was really hoping people would talk to me about it. Like I had heard about like music snobs where, like people are like kind of gatekeepy of their favorite bands. So I was like, "Oh, I actually know a lot more about My Chemical Romance than I do about Fall Out Boy." So I'll be able to keep up conversation and maybe make a friend through that. Talked about it like twice. Most people didn't read the band, and if they did have like attention brought to it, they were just like, "Why do you have My Chemical Romance?" Some people would have like the artist where it's just a name as well, like Miley Cyrus, Noah Kahan, other bands, and so then they would be like, "Why do you have two names?" So that was fun for them to have to deal with. And then there's Halloween. Up in the right, I'm dressed as the ghost face from Dead by Daylight. I'm pretty sure that's the only place that typical outfit shows up in. I didn't realize you could see my eyes in there. That's kind of funny. I thought it was blocked out. But anyway, yeah, I worked the night shift and we got to dress up for Halloween. That costume ended up sucking, though. Like, I knew I wouldn't be able to wear the mask once I entered the building because, stuff. But I had to take off most of the costume because while I was there, uh, I would have to switch between doing the cashier job and cooking sometimes because we were very understaffed. And I ended up contaminating like one little like bowl or basket or something because like my cape like went in it while I was like reaching over and I was like, oh god dang it. And so I ended up having to like decostume entirely, and then when I was able to switch back to the cashier, like I talked to people and I was like, hey, can you maybe do this so I don't have to switch between them? And then I was able to put on the costume again. No one really knew who I was because it's kind of the mask, but that does it. And also, not that if I drew movie accurate, it would have helped anyone. But like, yeah, I'm a big fan of horror. It just so happens that most of my horror favorites are identified by the mask, and you couldn't wear a mask in there for obvious reasons. But yeah, I've made some friends here. I still talk to them. I still try to meet with them. They are still on the night shift, so it's kind of hard to meet with them because I'm definitely more of a morning person. So I'm waking up early. They're staying up late. I can't always keep up with them, but it's great when I do get to see them. And working there for 2 years made me financially stable enough to stay in college and be able to go to NSU. And I was able to accrue enough savings where I'm actually open to more options than I was before on graduate programs. So now I'm just going to go anywhere that has a master's in clinical psychology. I'm going to try for that PhD, but it'll probably have to come later. All right. We're finally on the change major, the thing I've been wanting to talk about this whole time. It was so funny. So I ended up I ended up making a career services like appointment, and career services was kind of iffy. The first time I went there, this dude scared me so much that if I got a single B, I wouldn't make it into a medical school. And although I'm not even aiming for that, that's not true. If you're in any medical program, you can have a B. Contact the medical school first. They will tell you the GPA they're aiming for. It will make you look better if you have a 4.0, but it's not necessary. And they need doctors. So if you're interested and you can do it, do it. Um, I know I left it. I'm not going to medical school anymore. I'm doing clinical psych. Still medical, but like not that. um, but yeah. So career services. I got a different person. I had a really lovely talk with this lady. And by talk, I mean me ranting, just as I am for this assignment. Because I question a few things. I was like, I don't get it. Like, I've dedicated my whole life to like wanting to be a cardiologist. Why is this stuff not sticking with me? I'm having a lot of trouble in some of my lab classes, especially the anatomy ones. I just can't remember it. And then I started thinking of what I could remember, and I was like, oh, but I know all these facts about synesthesia and all these other abnormal psychology disorders that I like look up constantly and I'm constantly learning about in my free time. And oh yeah, I also did a project in a uh, biomedical class about psychology. And oh yeah, I had a writing assignment in a my composition 2 class, and I decided to do it about the psychology of these people in the play. And I really enjoyed my introduction to psychology class, and I was like, wait, I'm really good at this topic. Maybe I should switch my major to it. And then the counselor was just like, yep, I think that sounds nice. And so we started getting the paperwork done. She, of course, sent me to someone else because she wasn't the, like, whatever it's called. But it was a different position to get your major changed. So I got sent over to another room, waited for not even that long. I think it was like 2 minutes, surprisingly. You always have to wait for them. And then got the major changed. And that major change, of course, led me to taking more psychology classes. And both of these photos originate from a class I had with Dr. Ivy. I had two with her in the same semester, and I showed up very differently. Photo on the left. I still wear the shirt quite often, not really the skirt anymore. Um, there's not a lot of good places to wear a skirt. um, but yeah, I had a partner, like a lab partner, and we were doing it over like gender stereotypes and really analyzing a lot of them and like kind of how they got there and where gender differences originated, which don't fact check me on this because this is not what the project's about, but started with agriculture. That's where the people started using different tools and whatnot. I'm not going to claim any more things on there because I don't want to put the information in here. Uh, but yeah, it was a very fun project. The first podcast type project I ever tried to do, so it actually really sucked. I used an incompatible audio file, and I had to like we had to just audibly present it in the class, and I had to resend the files to the teacher later. But of course, we had enough sources and enough actual information that we still got a good grade on there. It was just kind of messed up in the submission. It went through Blackboard, it just wouldn't play. Yeah. But yeah. And I'm actually covering my mouth in there because I have like a full grown mustache. Because in the photo on the right, I dressed as like Jake from State Farm. I had khakis and a red shirt. Not a polo, but like just a red shirt. Close enough. And I had as thick a mustache as I could. I don't have like the thickest ones, but like I really wanted a mustache for this like trip. I did shave it before I went out and like tried to present feminine for the gender questioning photo, but like for the research project, which is right there, the relationship between social media use and self-esteem, that was so much fun. It was a legitimate like research project, like very small scale, but like we had to submit to IRB, we had to pull from other scales. It really taught me a lot, especially about statistics. I had to do most of the math portion. It was so much fun though. I had to rewrite it like 6 times, but it was so much fun. Um, and yeah, it felt very professional. Like great class, behavioral statistics with Dr. Ivy, amazing. If you're at TCC, it's not really useful for any of us here, I don't think. Wonderful class. Puts you through the entire like having to put together a research project. And we had to present it. That's why I grew out the mustache dressed like Jay from State Farm, was because we had to stand there with this poster. Anyone who walked by, we had to talk to them. It was other teachers, like I guess in between classes that were coming in. I don't think really any student showed up. She just invited people in the psych field, like the teacher, Dr. Ivy. She just invited um, other teachers and psychology friends and whatnot. It was a great experience. All right, moving on. And now I'm at NSU, of course, because that was the final stuff I did at TCC. So what's next? the college I'm at now. I've been in this one for a year now. I'm heading into my senior year. I don't know if this summer semester counts as that, but it doesn't matter. I made it to NSU. My future is green, very green. I was thinking that the whole time I was driving to the campus. I was like, trees, so much green. Uh, yeah, one unfortunate part is like I had this college in sight for like a while. I had a friend, we were both into creative writing, and the day we graduated, we both like went off on a rant, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to creative writing in at NSU. You should look into it." And I was like, "That sounds great. I'd love to see you there." Never saw him there, and he also goes to the Tahlequah campus, so still haven't seen him. It's been a while though, and we haven't really texted anyway, so probably for the best. Am making new friends though, and am meeting new teachers who are inspiring me to do better. I haven't taken a class that's not in the second floor of the education building yet, though. All of them are there. I did all of my diversity credits at TCC thanks to the biology associates, so just really trying to push through the major. Am taking law classes as well, though. I don't know how much law will be in my future, which is why I haven't really included it, but I'm very passionate about forensic psychology. That's its whole other deal. And of course, story's not over. I haven't even begun the actual career that I'm aiming for, which is so insane to think about. Been in college 3 years now. Not even close. I'm at a halfway point to getting into the program. And then, of course, you gotta have like supervision and all the stuff. It's insane. But yeah, this is just a collage of photos of what I've been up to recently. Been really enjoying cooking. That's why there's enchiladas. I like Pokemon, and my sister bought me the freaking like stuffed plushie of it. Jess went to Pride. That's what that photo is, where I'm wearing the Shadow the Hedgehog shirt and have like the rainbow on me. Went to Pride with my aunts in Texas. Great time. Saw a double rainbow at the beginning of the month too. That UNT, University of North Texas, that's a graduate school I went over to and interviewed at very spontaneously. I was like, oh, hey, I'm in the area. I might as well do my own tour. Sweating so much. First time experiencing Texas summer, was not ready for it. And then I'm in a building, like trying to cool off, and I get asked like what I'm doing there. I'm like, oh, I'm researching for graduate. And they're like, oh, we have our graduate coordinator here. Why don't you go talk to us? It was like, yay. My hair was drenched. I was horrible. I really don't know how I smelled either. I couldn't smell it. But like, yeah, I don't know. Just so embarrassing. I really hope that went better. I really hope he forgets about me. But I got great information from it. And I know how to direct my graduate experience now. At the top, where you see like three people in a green wooded area, I went on a hike. That's my family. I love them to death. That's a necklace I made recently. One of my many hobbies. I have too many and only do some of them every now and then. That's one of them that I kind of abandoned for a bit. Chain work, like necklace and bracelet making. That's a bracelet. My most proud one yet too is my first one using eye pins. I didn't have the correct tools, but I made it work, so it's a little janky. Proudest thing though, I love it so much. And I think that's all the photos here explained. So yeah, at this point, I'm trying to get a diverse education to make myself look as approachable for psychology. Uh, which is why I have the social welfare minor, and I'm taking this introduction class to get into the other social work classes. Social work, I've had a lot of great talks with social workers, and it's definitely a field that I could have seen myself entering if I didn't need so many language credits to actually enter. I was kind of late when someone sold me on the whole social work train, so now I'm just doing it as a minor. and getting that experience that I feel like is important for anyone with a psychology major or plans to enter a psychology field. So that's the career story as far as I know. That's pretty much very up to date. If anyone knows the stuff I've talked about here, you know pretty much everything I'm doing lately. It's not the full history of me, but it's as good as anyone who's only just now seen my face needs to know. it's yeah, this is me. This is me and my career path, and that has been my talking stick. I hope you've enjoyed rustling some leaves with me, and I can't wait to see some of y'all's. I'm sure you're all very interesting people. Again, who isn't at this point? uh, yeah, I really don't know how to conclude things. I have awkward Midwestern goodbyes. So, goodbye.